Hi members, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Poa today and what we are up to as it is our biggest challenge currently. It's one that we've been experiencing for a few years at the club, as Sydney has. I mean, we've had two really above average years rainfall, and what that does is it just creates the perfect environment, high moisture levels, cloud, cooler temperatures or two cooler summers. So all of the conditions that Poa really loves and thrives in, and maybe the host grass or the couch grass that's kind of out here on our fairways and not so much. So the scales are kind of tipped into Poa's favour. So it's challenging because you have a weed that is actually really enjoying the wet weather. Now we do a couple of things. We spray, and we also do a lot of cultural practices, hand weeding, etc., to try and manage that weed. And it's kind of a year-round, Sydney's climate is conducive of year-round kind of management of this weed. So spraying, we use two types of products. We use one called a pre-emergent herbicide, and it does exactly what that name says. So before that Poa weed emerges, we spray that, and as that weed seed, as the Poa germinates from its seed that's out here naturally spread by birds and golfers' shoes and the wind, as that weed germinates, it hits that pre-emergent and it instantly kills that weed. As it tries to put some roots down, it hits that layer and it kills. Now those products need fairly stable weather to be effective, so we try and put them out and we lightly water those into the top of the soil, and they bind at that layer. Now the issue we've got is we keep having meters of rain. It's not even hundreds of mils of rain, it's meters now, that washes that or dilutes that product into and pushes it deeper into the soil. So we are exposed and we do see an increase in germination. We are also seeing challenges with just being able to kill Poa with post-control herbicides. So unfortunately, we as a turf manager, we only have access to kind of a limited range. Now you use the same thing over and over, eventually that it gets resistant or used to it, so they become a little less effective. So that kind of puts a bigger reliance upon spot spraying and hand weeding to physically kind of get those weeds off the property. So we obviously try and make sure we have that preventative layer there, and that is a challenge, but that's the focus. And then we try and manage out the stuff that has germinated. So that's kind of the balancing game that we play. And then we have to be careful where we place certain products, because there's certain products we wouldn't want to use. For example, the high side of 13, the back of the 10th, the right of the 9th. So anywhere where we've got slope, where we could, especially in this current kind of weather pattern where we keep getting these really heavy downpours and we get the lateral movement of water, those products, they all can be really detrimental to the green, like almost, or can kill the green. So we can't place those products with any kind of confidence at this moment in and around those areas, so that we see increased Poa plants in those areas. So for us, we have been working away at reapplying a lot of this pre-emergent. That'll be a tactic going forwards, and we select the right one for the right location. So we use certain products that we know are safe in and around the greens. Anything that we think could move in a rain event, we certainly keep away, and we use on the flat areas or the safe areas if we did have a rain event. And then a real focus by the team with that post control. So and that's kind of spot spraying again, and that kind of hand weeding. So that's very much a tactic. We have kind of 3 sections out here. We have a team leading 1 through 6, a team leading 7 through 12, and a team leading 13 through 18. They're kind of led by one of the senior greenkeepers, and then they're working through those areas. And with a focus on starting on green surrounds, because we obviously want to keep the Poa as far away from the green, but no doubt we want to chase this all the way back and off the property. So we will attack in that way, and we've definitely had some pleasing inroads. Even in this wet weather, we've been able to make some kind of apps successfully on green surrounds, and you'll see some kind of golden Poa out there, and we'll continue to press on with those sprays. Some spot spraying on our 2 problematic area fairways, which would definitely be the start of the second up to about the fairway bunkers, and probably 14 in its entirety. It's been a difficult place to kill Poa, where the Poa doesn't seem overly responsive to when we go out of our kind of tractor sprayers. So that'll need an increase in hand weeding and also spot spraying those plants. So that's the tactic. We will continue to work through it and around the weather to make sure that it's our primary focus, and it will be our primary focus this winter, to make sure that we delete all the plants that we have out here and we get as clean as we can, and then hopefully we have a more complementary season next year, that kind of conventional agronomic schedule of programs, the pre-emergence applied, that anything that kind of escapes through those and does emerge, we can clean up and we can manage it that way. But it certainly does feel like we're working and coming from a long way back, but certainly some really pleasing inroads that give me confidence that we'll certainly get ourselves in a really good spot here, kind of moving forwards.